Just because you don't have a power outlet or a power supply close by and you need electricity doesn't mean you can't have power and clean, quiet power at that. You see, portable power stations are the rage these days. People are using them from everything from construction to trade shows to camping, of course. Well, today we're having a look at one of the most popular ones. This is the BLUETTI AC200P. I'm telling you, this is one of the best bangs for the buck. Okay, let's start with the unboxing. First of all, if you have someone there to help you take this thing out, I'd highly recommend it. If you're doing it by yourself, remember when you're lifting heavy items, lift with your legs, not your back. So this thing, once you get it out, it is a little bit of a beast. This thing comes in at 60 pounds. But it's super solid. It's very, very well made. You can just, look at it. It looks like a high-end computer or maybe like an amplifier. It'd be kind of cool if it actually had a clear side to it so you could see the inner workings of it. Maybe that could be a special edition BLUETTI, hey? So what I'd recommend, if you're gonna move it often, for instance, around your garage or within your house or whatever, get like a moving dolly or something, just throw it on there, you can roll it around. I found that quite handy. If you have to move it long distances, put it on a dolly. Once you get it unboxed, you get the unit itself, you get a bunch of cables, a 12 volt for your cigarette lighter adapter, and then also ones for your solar panel if you want to hook this to some solar panels. Comes with in a little cable bag here. As well, you get the charger, and it's a 400 watt charger. It's a big beast. But yeah, this thing is so solid. I checked out one of the competitors' power stations. It was a small one though, it was only a 500 watt, and it felt like a little lunch kit compared to this. This thing is super, super solid. By the way, this BLUETTI is working right now. It is powering, I've got my iPad here, charging my phone. Also, the light that is lighting up this room is powering this BLUETTI here. So it's, yeah, there's no sound right now at all. If you load it up heavily, a fan will come on to cool it. And yeah, that's only if you load it up heavy. Otherwise, it is really, really silent. There are so many specs to go through, but one of the most impressive things about this BLUETTI is that the battery system, or the batteries that it uses the lithium iron phosphate. Now, if you're not familiar with lithium batteries, there's lithium ion, which is the most common one, but the lithium iron phosphate are what are used for storing, like power walls, or if you watch some of my dash cam reviews, the dash camera batteries use lithium iron phosphate as well. And the advantage of that, especially for the dash cam batteries, is that they're made to go and be completely discharged and charged up and discharged back and forth, back and forth. They're the most stable lithium battery out there. They are better in all extreme conditions, extreme heat and extreme cold, so they're more stable there, and their life cycles are so much more, so they're really, really robust. For instance, I just checked online the Yeti power station that I was looking at there. Their life cycles are, it's basically rated for 500 cycles, so that means you can charge it 500 times. Some other ones I looked at are about 1,000 cycles, and these are all lithium ion batteries. This one here is rated for 3,500 cycles, and at 3,500 cycles, it would have lost, no more than 20%. So you'd still have 80% capacity after 3,500 cycles of this. So that means if you use this every single day of the year, this would last you basically 10 years. So for the average person like myself, this is gonna last me pretty well my lifetime. So that is one of the biggest things of this AC200P. So just be aware of that when you're shopping around, because you may see other ones that are similarly priced, or maybe they're cheaper and they're the same size, but guess what? They might be only good for 500 to 1,000 cycles, and you're gonna get way more use out of one of these for sure. So what can you power with your BLUETTI? Pretty well anything that needs to be plugged in. A nice thing about it though is that this uses a pure sine wave inverter. So what does that mean? It means it's really clean power. Some electronics don't like dirty power. You'll get weird noises. Even if you plug in a fan, sometimes you'll get a weird hum. So really, really great for some of your finicky electronics. This is a good example here, and this could be a great tailgate setup. Imagine your tailgate party, you have your 12-volt fridge maybe, you have a large screen TV, you have an audio system, you can power all of that with the AC200P. So what we have here, we have a 65-inch TV here, we have LED backlighting, some RGB, we have a sound bar, we have a cable box, and we even have a Nintendo plugged into it, which is not working. Well, it's not on right now, but I did a test using this for 1 hour. It only uses about 9% of the battery for 1 hour, meaning that I could run this thing for over 10 hours straight. And one thing that I did discover though is a lot of TVs have a setting in the TV that adjusts the brightness according to the ambient light. So if I turned off all the lights in here, I could actually see the wattage decrease, because when there's lights on, it automatically adjusts the backlighting of the flat panel to actually get brighter, and that uses more power. So if you want to save power and you're camping, you probably don't have a lot of lights on like I have to do right now anyways, you are going to save a little bit of power. So that is super, super cool. We could plug in a whole bunch of other things right now. If you could do like your DC refrigerator if you wanted to, right there. You know, everyone could go and put their phones on charge there. You have the USBs there. Yeah, it's an instant party right there in that box. How about for cooking? Yes, this will power your microwave, your air fryer. We were having a hot pot dinner. So basically we have a hot pot of broth or soup, and it's like a fondue. You're putting things in and you're cooking out of it. Normally we either have a butane burner or we have our induction top, and we just plug it in. So this time I wanted to just see if, first of all, how this would power it. And so we plugged it in. This will go up to 1800 watts for my induction burner. This is 2000 watts, but it'll actually peak at 4800 watts. So just for a split second there, maybe you're using a table saw or something. So I had that hooked up to it, and without any extension cord, just plugged directly into it. A couple times we had it to 1800 watts, just wanted to see what was going on, and the fan would come on. Other than that, a lot of times, once you actually have it up to temperature, you're cruising around 1000 watts or so. And we used it for about an hour and 15 minutes continuous, because with hot pot, you're never turning it off. It's always on. It's so, you know, not the best use of one of these, but hey, you never know. You could be in the middle of nowhere, camping, whatever, and you feel like a hot pot, you don't have a butane burner, use this. I'd use a butane burner if I were you and save this power for something else. But it does work, and it does work very well. So things that make heat, like stoves, heaters, heated blankets, air fryers, they all take quite a bit of power, as you can see. But other appliances, like things that keep things cool, they actually are a little bit more efficient. For instance, this deep freeze right here. Now this would be a perfect example of when you would use this. Say you have a power outage and you want to protect everything in the deep freeze. So what you're going to do, you turn it on, by the way. So you hit that power button, it's going to power on. Now, even when you charge it, you actually have to power it on. If you actually have it turned off and you put your input in for your adapter, it will not charge. You actually have to have it on, and also you have to turn on either AC or DC or even both. We're going to hit AC here, and we're going to hit on. There we go. You can see that AC is highlighted right now, and we are showing a couple little status bars. So let's unplug the freezer. Here we are. Here is our freezer plug, and let's just pick a outlet here. There we go. The compressor just kicked back on. Freezers don't take as much power, or refrigerators for that matter, is because when it's cool enough, it turns itself off and it just kicks on the compressor when it needs to get cool again. So I did a test on this particular deep freeze here, and it will run this deep freeze for over 24 hours, which is pretty decent. Run a refrigerator as well, or maybe you have one of those DC refrigerators for camping, or at your cabin or on the boat. That'll power that for a lot longer than 24 hours for sure. Now, one thing that I did notice though on this BLUETTI, and it's a kind of a small thing, but and I've gotten used to it. This screen right now, it's fairly easy for me to see because I have this elevated on top of the freezer. But most of the time when you're using this power station though, it's probably gonna be on the ground. And when it's on the ground, it can be hard to see the display because as soon as you go down to the level, no problem. But at an angle, it's kind of tough to see. But what happens is once you get used to it, you know where to press. You might not even have to read it. For instance, if I want to hit DC, I know that on the left side, if you're looking at it from this angle, that would be on. So I hit that on, it's clicked on. Now my DC is on. I can use my DC outputs all over here and also my inductive charging on the top right there. So that is the freezer, and yeah, this would definitely be very handy in a power outage for sure. So another scenario where you could use the BLUETTI and it could come in handy, maybe not really common, but if you or someone you know owns an EV or electric vehicle and maybe they didn't plan properly and they ran out of electricity and they're on the side of the road or something. I'm not saying that you should be carrying one of these around in the back of your car, but maybe a friend of yours calls and they're not too far away, but there's no plugs around and you need to get enough power into that vehicle just to get them to a plug. Well, this will actually do it. So this is, if it's fully charged at 2,000 watt hours, so that's 2 kilowatt hours for this particular vehicle, which is the Hyundai Ioniq 5, that would actually give you roughly about 11 kilometers of range if you emptied the whole thing. But right now it's wintertime, it's really cold right now. You can probably see my breath. It is negative 11 degrees outside right now. And an electric vehicle like this is going to get a reduced range. Let's just knock off another 30%, I'd say. But once again, that should be enough to get you to somewhere where you can put a regular 120 volt plug or even a level 2 fast charger. But before we start charging, it's so cold, we want to warm up. So what else can you do? Well, hey, who doesn't have an espresso machine in the back of their vehicle? So we've got our water. We can turn the BLUETTI on. On she comes here. We are going to go AC on. Once again, hard to see that. All right, we're gonna plug this baby in. Might as well just use that same one that we were in before. Even these cords are really, they're not very pliable because it's so cold out. We have our puck here. Let's have a nice hot coffee. Puck goes in. We're gonna hit the button. Now this is a loud machine, by the way. I think we need to descale it. On it comes. There she comes. This is real time right now. What are we at here? I'm gonna flip around to this side. 1,245 watts at first for the peak. Now we're only running about 60 watts once it gets going. At the very first, now it's back up to 1240. So it goes back and forth for wattage wise. Remember, this has a peak, like a boost of 4,800 watts at the very, very start. And it can do 2,000 watts continuously. Looking good, nice and hot. Yep. Actually, I think it runs actually quieter with this BLUETTI than it does inside our house for some reason. I don't know why. Inside the house, it feels like it sounds like it's gonna take off. There we go. All right. There we go. Can you see that? Really nice hot coffee there. Oh. Oh yeah, that's super, super hot. You can see the steam coming off, can't you? Let me get out of the frame here so you can see it. All right. So obviously, if this was a real scenario and we were actually either trying to put a charge into an electric car or we're waiting for help or roadside service, we wouldn't be hanging out outside with this hatch open at minus 10 or 11 degrees. But the nice thing about the electric power station is that you can put this inside, you can run the cable through the window if you were charging your vehicle, and there are no fumes, and you can try to keep as much heat in as you can, and you wouldn't have this hatch wide open. Let's go inside where it's warm. Output-wise, they have you covered. There are 17 different outputs on this AC200P. Starting on this side here, we have 6 120 volt outlets. Then we have 4 USB Type A's. Then we have a single Type C, but that's a 60 watt one there, so that's gonna even power, a lot of laptop computers. Right now we have it powering the iPad. That's nothing, that's charging it really, really quick. You get a 12 volt car outlet and you get 2 5.5 millimeter outlets. There's a 25 amp RV outlet here, but that one you will need a special cable. Does not come with it. You will have to purchase that separately, and that makes sense. Not everyone has an RV, right? And on top you have 2 wireless chargers, 15 watts each. So altogether here, you could plug a lot of devices in here to satisfy everyone's charging or powering needs, especially if you're a family going out somewhere, something like that. All right, let's go through some of the charging methods. I'm gonna go check it out on my iPad powered by the BLUETTI. Okay, so lots of methods. It comes with a 400 watt AC adapter, really, really big and beefy, and it's gonna charge this from empty in 5.5 hours, which is not bad, okay, because this is 2,000 watt hours for this power station. That's pretty good. You can cut it in half because they actually have a dual AC adapter, and that's optional, by the way, and that'll cut the time in half even. For those, if you're using solar panels, or maybe you're in an RV living off the grid, you can fully charge this in as low as 2 hours with 1200 watt input, or up to 400 watts at 700 watt inputs, or you can even charge solar and AC at the same time. Maybe you're at a campground that does have a hookup and you have your solar panels there, you can do that all the same time. So that's really handy. I could really see camping would be really convenient for this. Maybe during the day, you're charging during the day. At nighttime, hey, you can use this for lights. Maybe you have sleep apnea and you have a CPAP machine, that's gonna power you through the night as well. You can put that in the tent, no fumes, no gas, no nothing. So that's a really good option for you there as well. So the last thing is you can use a 12 volt or 24 volt car outlet, and that's gonna take you 10 to 20 hours. So you can actually just charge this while you're driving, throw that in the back of the vehicle. So who else needs a power station? Well, for recreational purposes, I've already mentioned, barbecues, camping, picnics, family get-togethers, family reunions. You might be in the middle of a soccer field. You want to power your PA station or something like this. Throw this onto a hand dolly, wheel it out to the middle of that field, and you've got full power there. Another use, I had a friend that they go to do trade shows a lot, and I didn't realize this, but a lot of convention centers charge you a small fortune to bring power to your booth. And for their booth, it's really, their needs are very simple. They just need a little bit of power to power some LED lighting to light up some of their banners and displays, and that's it. So guess what? You get one of these, you don't have to pay those huge fees to those convention centers, and you can reuse it over and over and over again. So that's a huge bonus as well. And plus, everyone at that booth can actually charge all their devices at the same time. How about a food truck? You see food trucks all the time. They're running a gas generator. A lot of times it's for the water pump, for their water system, maybe a fan, and their lights, but a lot of the other stuff is all run on gas. Well, have one of these. You get nice clean power. You can also run your computer or your POS terminal as well. And nice and clean and completely quiet as well. And guess what? That's your customers are going to enjoy that. If you know, who wants to smell, you know, fumes with their food, right? Get one of these. Charge it up every night. I'm sure this is going to handle pretty well everything that you need to do, unless you have, you know, some major power needs. Of course, if there's a power outage, you're going to naturally use a portable power station like this. And the benefit, once again, silent, no fumes, so you can bring this in the house. So even if you have a gas generator, that's not a bad thing, right? Because this will eventually, you know, be drained. So what if you, hey, had a gas generator during the day, you're an extended power outage during the day, you use your gas generator, plugged it in, and charged this unit here, and ran whatever you needed to run during the day. But then at nighttime, you turn that gas generator off. Your neighbors don't want to hear that. And you want to bring this inside the house. You can be powering your lights, your router for your computers and everything else like that. You can power that CPAP machine. Do all that stuff. That's going to run you all through the night. And of course, keep everything frozen in that freezer, especially that ice cream. As you can see, the uses for a portable power station are literally endless. I could just go on and on and on and on. Just think of this. If you use electricity, period, you could use one of these. And with the lithium iron phosphate battery, 3,500 plus cycles, that's 10 years of use for every single day. You know what? This really is one of the biggest bangs for the buck for portable, clean power for sure. Anyways, that's our look at the BLUETTI AC200P. If you want more information on this here, I'll leave a link in the video description. Also, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. Let me know, what do you think of portable power stations? Do you have one? And if you had one, what would you use it for? Thanks for watching. See you on the next Everyday Review. And watch this. Where's that power button? Right here? Here we go. Lights off. Boom.